the Pittsburgh Penguins just made multiple shocking roster moves over the last 24 hours, including claiming a defenseman off waivers about 5 minutes ago. And just yesterday, they terminated the contract of Jesse Puljujarvi. We're going to talk about all of this and more on Penguins Digest today. So much to go over on the last day of the NHL regular season before the 2-week break for the Four Nations face-off. And then we'll pick back up in a couple weeks. But right now, it's going to be roster moves that we're going to talk about on the show today. So stay tuned if you want to know all the details about players coming back up, players being sent back down, players being cut completely, and then players being brought in. Just so much going on right now for the Penguins, but starting with breaking news. And we love to break news here on Penguins Digest. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. 84% of you have not yet subscribed to the channel, so hit that subscribe button. Help us get to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. We are very close. And right now, let's just break this news because I am so excited. The Penguins claimed Vladislav Kolyachonok off waivers from the Utah Hockey Club. This is a kid that was a highly touted prospect and has never really developed into the defenseman that they thought they were getting. He's still very young, and the Penguins need a lot of help on the back end. He is a clear upgrade over most of the defensemen that we have on this roster, so I am extremely excited to be telling you guys that we now have Vladislav Kolyachonok at our disposal on the blue line. So Kolyachonok, let's learn a little bit about him because this is only like the third time I've ever heard this dude's name. He is a former Utah Hockey Club defenseman. Elliotte Friedman did break this news of Sportsnet. Pittsburgh had a pair of open slots on their active roster after some moves that we're going to talk about in just a little bit that they made. Kolyachonok is only 23 years old. He now joins his fourth NHL franchise. He was initially selected 52nd overall in the 2019 draft by the Panthers, who traded him to the Coyotes in the Anton Strawman offseason deal in 2021. The Belarusian, so he's from Belarus, defender, jumped with his former Arizona teammates to Utah last summer, but now finds himself headed east to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we get Kolyachonok. The interest stems from his two-way upside. This is why we're bringing this guy in. He's a decent size, 6'2", 195. He's put up decent totals in the minors, recording 13 goals, 35 assists, 48 points with a plus 12 rating in 150 career AHL games. None of these contests have come in 2024-25 as a revolving door of injuries on the Utah blue line meant he had to spend the entire season on the NHL roster. He was passable in the depth role, logging 2-3-5, so 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points with 19 blocks and 14 hits in 23 appearances. His underlying numbers were strong. His plus-minus rating expected was actually plus 1.7, grading out better defensively than his actual -7 rating would otherwise indicate. So another one of those guys that the advanced metrics actually tells you more of the story, and he actually has been a very solid player for Utah this season. So the Penguins are going to get a defenseman. That is something we desperately need, is a defenseman, and hopefully Kolyachonok can fill a role here. I mean, even if he's our number 7 defenseman, we talked about it, he is an upgrade over Ryan Shea. He's definitely an upgrade over Ryan Graves as well, I would go as far to say. So I would rather give him that ice time, truly. So I think he should be in the top 6. Penguins wouldn't have claimed him if they weren't going to use him. So next up, Jesse Puljujarvi. Contract terminated by the Pittsburgh Penguins. They are no longer dealing with this dude. He was a former first-round pick. They gave him an opportunity, professional tryout contract, and eventually, he made the team. He's playing for the Penguins. Never really amounted to much here in Pittsburgh, so he is probably going to play overseas now. Puljujarvi didn't get any interest on waivers when his contract did get terminated. Like, he literally didn't just get placed on waivers. It wasn't just, okay, we're going to waive you. It was, he wanted to be terminated. He didn't want to be under contract at all by the Pittsburgh Penguins. So this was a very complicated situation, but we're going to clear it up for you guys here in just a second, talk about what Kyle Dubas said about this move. But Jesse Puljujarvi, no longer a Pittsburgh Penguin. The team placed him on unconditional waivers for the purpose of terminating his contract Saturday, so yesterday. Elliotte Friedman, who broke the other news, broke this news as well. Penguins released a statement via email from general manager Kyle Dubas, which clears up the situation. And let's hear from our GM, Kyle Dubas, on this matter. A year ago, we committed to working with Jesse as he returned after substantial hip surgeries in the summer of 2023. Put in tremendous work over the offseason and returned to Pittsburgh this fall in terrific shape and had a great training camp, earning his way to regular ice time out of camp. As the season has gone on, we have worked with Jesse and Representative Marcus Leto and tried to ensure that his hard work returning from serious injury was not lost and to try to find him a greater opportunity. Over the last week, those discussions have led to us granting Jesse his request for contract termination, so he may explore opportunities with other organizations around the world. In the end, we felt that the fair thing to do was this, given the work he has put into getting himself back to this level. So, General Manager Kyle Dubas with a very respectful response to Jesse Puljujarvi wanting to be cut, wanting to be placed on waivers, wanting to have his contract terminated. The Penguins, out of respect for him as a player and his wishes moving forward to play elsewhere, that is something the Penguins were willing to do for him. He went unclaimed 2 different times on waivers. No NHL team would want him. I don't blame them. This dude used to be a big name. That's how quickly it can happen, folks. You could go from a household name, a top draft pick, a guy that everybody thinks is going to be a superstar, to nothing. He was getting comps to Mikko Rantanen. I mean, this guy was supposed to be something special, and he never amounted to anything. So, Jesse Puljujarvi probably going to play overseas. Thank you for what you've done for Pittsburgh. I can't say you did a whole lot, buddy, but I liked Puljujarvi. I mean, I had hope for him. I did think that he could possibly rejuvenate his career and revitalize his career with the Penguins, and it just never happened, unfortunately. So, he's got to go overseas and play. I mean, there's no NHL team that's going to deal with him. He just simply not good enough. He basically fell off a cliff. He never was that productive at the NHL level, but at one point he was a very highly regarded prospect. So it just sometimes doesn't work out, guys. You can't hit all aces. So Puljujarvi expressed his frustrations to a Finnish outlet back in December, and that's when all of this started. He wanted a change, didn't get much of a change, and we haven't seen a change. So now there is a change. He's gone entirely. Ditch the organization, find out the next steps for his career, probably overseas, like this article also says. Like I said, he cleared waivers earlier. NHL options are sealed for now, and he'll look to find a good spot to play, continue his career. He had major surgeries. It's hard to come back from that to begin with. So team's not really giving him an opportunity anymore. He got an opportunity in Carolina as well. Didn't work out there. Now in Pittsburgh, didn't work out there as well. Go back to his time in Edmonton. It's over for Jesse. It is. So deficiencies and holes in his game limited him staying, and now he's gone. So Puljujarvi is gone. Contract terminated. That's the second aspect of news. Here is the third and final aspect of news today, and it could be the most shocking of all. We had a waiver claim for a defenseman. Kolyachonok is a Penguin. Puljujarvi is going to play overseas. And now Tristan Jarry is called back up to the NHL, recalled by the Pittsburgh Penguins from the AHL. And before we go any further, I just want you guys to know, I will tell you exactly why this happened. And this isn't saying, oh, Tristan Jarry, you're going to get another opportunity to play at the NHL level. No, that is not the case. I'm going to explain it to you. So basically what happened was the Penguins are going into the Four Nations face-off. The NHL team is taking basically a 2-week break for the Four Nations face-off. The AHL is not taking a break for the Four Nations face-off. So let me show you the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Baby Penguins schedule. Basically what happened is the Penguins want their young players that they just recalled because of all the injuries they've had to continue to play hockey during the break. So because the Baby Pens have 5 games in the span of days that the Penguins aren't even appearing on an ice facility anywhere, I understand completely why this move was made by Kyle Dubas. It's not, hey, let's give Tristan Jarry a second chance. No, it's actually, let's make sure Tristan Jarry doesn't touch the ice and take playing time away from a guy that deserves it, Joel Blomqvist, who gets sent back down to the minors. He'll split time with Murashov, our up-and-coming goaltender that's going to be an absolute stud. The players that we just called up, well, they're going right back down. They're going to get an opportunity to play games while the Penguins are going to be sitting at home wondering what the heck is going on. Sidney Crosby's going to play in the Four Nations face-off. Hopefully, if he doesn't, Mark Scheifele will replace him. It'll be up to Sid. It's his decision. And then, obviously, Erik Karlsson, Rickard Rakell, going to represent Team Sweden, and Mike Sullivan coaching Team USA. So, Penguins recall Jarry. Sent 3 players down to Wilkes-Barre. We're going to dive into that now. Jarry, this is the post. Everybody's liking this post. Whether they actually know if it's a good thing, if it's a bad thing, are they confused? Well, if you're confused, you came to the right place, because I'm going to clear it all up for you here. Jarry Assigned to Wilkes-Barre on January 16th after he went through waivers unclaimed. Why would anyone want him anyways? And he also had a conditioning loan down there at the start of the season. The stats, I don't really care about his stats. They're not that impressive either way. So the Penguins recalled Jarry from the farm team in Wilkes-Barre shortly after their 3-2 loss to Philadelphia last night. That was the final game before the break for the Four Nations tournament. So I showed you guys the schedule. The schedule is Wilkes-Barre plays 5 games, the Penguins play 0. So why would you prevent Yoel Blomqvist, Vasily Ponomarev, and Emil Bemstrom from playing any hockey games over the next week and a half? It makes no sense. You want your young players to get the reps and continue to develop. So this was a move that Kyle Dubas had to make because these are players he doesn't want to get rusty just sitting around for a week and a half. They were only called up because they were emergency backups the first game, and then the second game we had so many injuries that we had to just give them a chance. And I told you guys that a couple videos ago. They were going to get an opportunity to at least see some NHL action. Did they make an impact on the game? No. So it's okay. They're going to continue to develop. You got to work out those nerves, and that one rep might actually be like a selling point moving forward. Those guys could use that as a chip on their shoulder. Hey, I really struggled at the NHL level. It's a significant uptick in speed and ability when you move up to the NHL. It's a completely different hockey game. So Rutger McGroarty couldn't keep up. He's still working on his skating down there at the AHL. But you see Ponomarev and Bemstrom struggling as well. So they just got to get their sea legs under them. That's all it is. So we're going to send them back down to the AHL, give them an opportunity to play and practice every day, and be ready to go whenever they're called upon again, because injuries are surely going to happen, and we're surely going to need their help down the stretch, especially if we start trading guys away. After last night, you know, we're playing without Sid and Gino and a lot of other guys. It's tough. It's really tough. But no excuses. Should beat a team like the Flyers on any given day. So it is what it is. A loss is a loss. The guy's got some experience. That's one positive. And don't get too excited about Tristan Jarry being recalled because he's not actually going to play. If I had to guess, he's going to be sent right back down as soon as the Four Nations face-off break is over. He's not getting another crack at it. I really don't think so. He has to show me a heck of a lot more than he has. Doing well against the AHL teams, okay, fine. But that's not trade value. Trade value is if he's playing for the big club, playing against actual NHL players, and preventing beach balls from getting behind him. That's what Tristan Jarry would have to do and prove that he still is somewhat of a capable NHL netminder in order to have any value at all. So right now we're stuck with him, but we're also not dealing with him at the NHL level. He's staying down there at Wilkes-Barre. The only reason he got called up right now is so that Blomqvist can get those appearances down for the baby Penguins and get the ice time that he deserves to keep him fresh for the second half of the season, where we're most likely going to rely on him as well. I think the tandem of Nedeljkovic and Blomqvist is here to stay, at least for the rest of the season, and we got to see what we have in Blomqvist. I mean, he has been at least somewhat reliable as a goaltender at the NHL level. He has struggled a little bit, but our defense is just as much to blame as Yoel Blomqvist. He's a very young goalie. He could very well be our franchise goalie. Maybe Murashov's our franchise goalie. You never know, but I like having all these good prospects, and I like trying them out at the NHL level, even if they're young. Give them that chance. Give them that exposure. See what you have. Tristan Jarry, we know exactly what we have. He's not good. So thank you guys for watching this video of Penguins Digest. We broke some news. I'm actually excited about Kolyachonok. I'm actually really excited. I'm excited to see what kind of game he can bring to the Penguins. We desperately need defense. That's one less player we got to trade for. If he finds a home in our 6-man rotation of defensemen or 7, Kolyachonok, baby. Kolyachonok. Puljujarvi's gone, playing back overseas most likely. And Tristan Jarry, guys, it's just a roster spot. He's not actually getting another crack at it. If he was, Kyle Dubas would say that. And he might end up saying that. You never know, because he's not going to pick up any trade value in the AHL, so I would understand it if Dubas wanted to call him up. Hey, you lose some games, get a better draft pick. You got nothing to lose at this point. But thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Help us get to 1,000 subs, and we'll see you on the next episode of Penguins Digest.